season has come and gone, and it's time to assess and look ahead. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Tom.
I'm Kim.
And I'm John, the bald guy.
And we are three old Reds fans, plus one, coming to you from Studio 82, a few blocks from our good friends at Beans, as always, in the heart of Cedarville, the birthplace and final resting place of Bumpus Jones. So we're here today to talk about the season it was and look a little bit ahead to next year. And John helped us out a few times this summer, so we wanted to bring him in, get his expert analysis, along with everybody else's expert analysis, and go on. But before we do that, remind everybody, if you're anywhere near Cedarville, Ohio, we have a special day coming up a week from Sunday on October 15th. It's called Bumpus Jones Day. And Bumpus, as you should know if you've been listening to this podcast, is from Cedarville, was born here in 1870. In 1892, at the end of the season, the Reds signed him to pitch in their final game, and he went out and threw a no-hitter in his Major League debut, which was unheard of then and is still unheard of now. It's never happened again. And it was the first Reds no-hitter as well. And a couple years later, he was kind of out of Major League Baseball, but he has that distinction. And so he's from here. He's buried here in the cemetery. So at 1 o'clock at Massey Creek Park, which is on Barber Road in Cedarville, we've got two vintage baseball teams from the area, the Eastwood Iron Horses and the Dayton Clodbusters.
Love the names.
Love the names, yes. And then so our mayor, Bob Fudge, is on the Eastwood Iron Horses, and he just lives right here down the street from me. And he has put this together to get these two teams here to play. So we're going to meet at that park. It's going to be very informal. It's free admission. And they're going to play at 1 o'clock, and then or somewhere around 3 o'clock, anybody else that wants to jump on the field and play, there's enough room. We might have two games and just play against some of those guys. You don't play with a glove. It's 1860s style. If you catch a ball on a bounce, it's an out, just like a fly ball, and I'm sure there's other rules that we don't know about. So just wanted to get that in, and we'll move on and talk about the Reds here. If we're all in the middle of I guess, what would you do for a Klondike bar? I guess you'd be on the Reds podcast. And we're all finishing off Klondike bars that John brought along. Well, they've
props to John.
Well, there's two more here.
Come
on.
So Jeff, you mentioned
so
earlier.
We'll give those away free to our listeners. I'm just kidding. They'll be a little melted by then. So Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and eat mine while you guys talk now.
Well, I was just going to say, you mentioned earlier, you were talking about us being experts. But we all, well, at least three of the four of us, said that we would get in the 70s for wins this year.
That's
and
right.
These experts not exactly experts.
Right. So for the second straight year, the Reds won 68 games. It was 64 the year before that, 76 in 2014, and in 2012 we won 90, but we didn't go anywhere. Finished third place, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were wrong. Why were we wrong?
Well, we were just commenting before we went on the air about what a prolific offensive year the Reds really had. I mean, I would guess that this team set records beyond just, 5 guys hitting 30 home runs? Or 20 home runs, excuse me. But, the on-base percentage certainly improved as the year went on. And a lot of guys, almost 3 guys with 100 RBIs, right? Pretty darn close. And I would say the offensive stats were great. But it didn't get us 70 wins, did it?
No. It did not. It did not. And the obvious answer is pitching. So what were you thinking, Kim, when you said 70-plus wins way back early on?
Well,
what did you think was going to happen that was going to get us there?
Well, I remember saying 70 to 76, and I remember hoping we would get there. We had, I think, a combination of the poor start by division rivals. The Cubs got off to a poor start. I think the Pirates were the only team in the NL Central that were not in first place at least one day. And in the beginning of the year, we were right there, and we were saying, I remember several times Tom saying, we just want to make the All-Star break only being no less than 5 games out.
Yeah, remember us saying that?
No more than 5 games out. I mean, we were right there, so we were winning games. The pitching hadn't plummeted at that point yet. And the bullpen in the beginning of the season was much more strong, much more efficient. than they were the last 40 to 50 games.
Yeah, inconsistent.
So we were looking. I thought 70-76 was a good, safe bet. And at the same time, though, I remember, okay, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But we were hoping that Homer would get back quicker.
Yeah.
We didn't know DeSclafani would be lost for the whole season.
I think he was going to be okay until we went to watch him.
Yeah, right.
Kind of ruined it.
Is that picture we had taken?
Yeah, I think so.
And we didn't know Finnegan would get hurt.
We were counting on those three guys being part of that
Yeah.
sooner and better, and the pitching would get stronger sooner rather than later. And it turned out to be much later. And we liked a lot of what we saw some guys late in the year, but it just was simply too late. And you can't win with smoke and mirrors very long, like we kind of were for a while.
We burn out the bullpen in the first half of the year, and there you go.
Now,
Yeah.
is it just me, though, for a team that won 68 games, they were fun to watch because they hit the ball so well.
Yeah.
And it
the
always
most
makes
part.
it more fun to watch. It's kind of like in golf, you drive for show and putt for
Putt
dough.
for dough.
In baseball, you hit for show,
And pitch
but
for,
you pitch for wins.
Oh, he changed it up on me.
He did. He did.
Pitch for the postseason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, biggest highlight of the year was Joey Votto, of course, with the kind of season he had.
I thought you were going to say Scooter.
Well, that Scooter was big too, but
In
Joey,
terms of one game,
Yeah.
you have to say Scooter.
right, and he ended up with four grand slams or something. He still kept having big games, but what Joey did, he certainly had a all-star year for sure. I was going to say MVP type of year, which he certainly did, but he's not going to win it on a team that wins 68 games. But he did do a lot of great stuff.
Andre Dawson says hello.
Andre Dawson,
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
why?
Why did I say that?
Well, why
Andre
did you say
Dawson won the MVP while on the last place team.
that? Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now he was in the Chicago market,
Yep.
but he did do that many years ago.
So how many? So if Votto would have been, what kind of would his power numbers need to be a little bit more up there, like more like 130 RBIs, maybe 45, 46 home runs to really make his stuff inhumane.
Well, I was wondering
MVP
about that.
capable.
The guy hit 320, right? 100 RBIs, 36 home runs.
Yeah.
By far led the league in on-base percentage.
51 more walks than strikeouts.
So that's a good question, John. What would it have taken for him to be Andre Dawson?
100 plus runs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he would have had to been up in the mid-40s with home runs and probably 130 RBIs, and that everybody would just say, wow, this is just a stellar season.
Yeah, it would have to be some of those.
Yeah.
Some of those typical old school statistical numbers, right, would have to be out of this world, because he led the league in OBP, OPS, OPS plus, and WRC plus. But people don't like, what's that? Well, it means he's a great hitter. He was 5th in homers, 6th in slugging, 4th in WAR on Fangraphs.
I was going to ask you about WAR.
2nd on Baseball Reference. I
Peace.
guess they figure it differently. So that's all within the league. His 1.032 OPS was the 46th highest total ever for a player his age or older. And you mentioned the walk to strikeout ratio. I found this 1.61 walk to strikeout ratio, 0.56 better than the second place guy, who was Justin Turner. Which that gap, that 0.56 gap,
It's about he probably 4 to 5 walks above the strikeouts, right?
right? So that gap between Votto and Turner is the same gap as between Turner and
And the
the
third.
65th place guy.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So you see how he
amazing.
was so much higher and better than everybody else in the league.
So I think
the
it's
rest
fair
of them
to say-
the rest of them are a lot more bunched up, and then he's just like way up in the stratosphere.
I read today that Joey's not even on the list for the Hank Aaron Award, the most outstanding player. And there's been argument, okay, he won't be the MVP, but maybe he'll be the most outstanding player, but he
never heard
doesn't
of the
even
Hank
make the
Aaron.
final
I
3.
never even heard of that award. It's interesting.
So I'd have to say that analytics is what has gotten him locally, at least regionally, into the discussion of MVP. But outside of the region, not even an afterthought, unfortunately.
I don't know, Cam. I watched the Major League Baseball Network a few times. First time, this year's the first time I've heard people say that Votto will be a future Hall of Famer. Have you guys ever heard that before?
Well, I've been starting to hear that.
I haven't heard it that
year I've heard
strongly.
that. From former players, you've seen him on Major League Baseball.
Right. And the analytics age just helps him.
And that's my point. Johnny Bench, obviously Hall of Famer, not a 3,000 hit guy. Lots of guys. Tony Perez, lots of guys. So Joey's not going to be a home run hitter like those guys. He's not going to.
Right, he's not going to hit 500 or 600
He may
home
not
runs.
hit. He may not get 3,000 hits.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
34 and somewhere. What's he? Is he over 1,600?
I don't know. I can look that
But
up.
hopefully-
he's not at
If you
2,000.
can just keep talking, I'll look
Hopefully
it up.
he will stay healthy. We talked about Pete Rose. He was about 37, 38, we think, when he had that streak and put on some incredible numbers. So hopefully Joey can continue to play to that level.
Right, Joey. Right now, you're about right. 1,586 career hits. He's not going to get to 3,000.
In all probability.
Yeah, 257 homers. He might get to 400, but he ain't going to be a 500 homer guy.
No.
RBI's 830. He'll get 13
11,
or
1,200
1,400,
at
maybe
worst.
13. He's not going to be one of those 1,500 RBI guys. He is 313 career batting average, a 428 on base. People start looking at this type of stuff. He was seventh in the MVP voting 2 years ago, or last year, excuse me, and third 2 years ago. So he is going to get some votes. He just won't win it. Back in 2010, of course, he won it. He's been MVP voting since 2009. He's been 22nd, 1st, 6th, 14th, 6th. Not in 14 because he only played in 62 games. And then 3rd and 7th the last 2 years. And this year is to be determined.
I texted some friends of mine, and I said Joey Votto is Rod Carew and Tony Gwynn as a power hitter.
Yeah, like it's in a lot of ways.
But Joey,
What about Wade Boggs? You could throw him in there too.
And I may have said his name too, yeah.
Joey has the potential to have some longevity though.
Yeah.
Into his early 40s, I would.
it's this position.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if he goes to the American League too.
Unless.
Well, it's true.
Unless
we get the DH in the NL, which, oh well.
Okay, Brandon
we'll
Phillips.
get off of that topic, but seriously, I could see him going to the AL. He can't really handle the rigors of every day in the field anymore. And
We played all 162
and,
games.
Dave Parker did
started
that.
it too.
Played a little older than you would thought because of his size, and wear and tear on a guy like that. He DH'd a lot over there and had really some productive seasons as a DH in his later years. Hank Aaron, that's why he left the National
To the
League.
Brewers, right?
Big Poppy.
So Brandon
Yeah.
Phillips is 36 and Votto's 34, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think has more hits?
Brandon.
Brandon has over 2,000 hits.
Yeah,
Joey has about 1,600.
interesting.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I wouldn't
Me
have
either.
probably guessed that either. I mean, what?
But it's because Votto walks so much, he doesn't get as many hits, right?
Yeah, he's never. Let's see. His highest hit total of his career is 185. His 162 game average for his career is 180.
So if you look at his OBP versus Brandon's, it's not even close.
Probably not.
No.
His OBP is 428 for his career.
Think about that. For a career, you're on 43 out of 100 times you go to at bat, you're on base.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
And that's where on Moneyball at points, he gets on base. Points to the economic skid, he gets on base.
Right. Yeah. So Brandon, to your point, averages 173 hits a year, but he's played longer. He's been playing since he was 21. Not a lot of games in those early years, but still.
Yeah, Brandon's had 16 years in the majors.
Right, and he's a couple years older.
What's his OBP?
2,026 hits, but his OBP is only 320.
Yeah.
And
So
he's-
100,
His,
so
his
118 less.
right, his batting average is 275, so he's almost 40 points lower in batting average, which is part of it. But he doesn't walk as much either.
And another former Red almost has the exact same amount of hits as Joey Votto. Edwin Encarnacion.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Wouldn't have guessed that either.
Let him get away. That's for sure.
Sure did.
Yeah. So, okay. Anything else to talk about Sir Joey, or is that,
Sir Joey.
You like that? Is that?
Let's
we
just
pretty
hope
much
he
covered
comes
it.
to spring training next year just as focused and driven as he was this year.
I think he will. He likes being a Red, but I think I'm sure he's tired of losing.
And hasn't he lost weight this year?
I don't know.
And the next, he looks a little bit skinnier than he had been.
I heard the other players said he's relentless in the weight room
Yeah.
after games.
And he's assumed a leadership role that is not a rah-rah type guy, but is just a leader.
Especially this year, right?
Goes about his own business, and you see the comfort level he has with the interviews, with the fans. Done some wonderful things, so
right.
that's good to see.
Yeah, and even visiting fans. He was giving away batting gloves to some kids
The Cubs.
at the Cubs game at Wrigley, to a couple kids wearing Cubs jerseys, and they were all excited.
Of course, he always throws the foul balls all the way up to the upper deck roof and lets it roll down.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been an interesting
This is a Votto love
to
fest.
see him mature a little bit and everything. So anyway, so we'll move on. Which do you like better, those Klondike bars or Joey Votto? It's
I
tough.
can't really say right now.
It's a tough one. Yeah, well, you ate 2 of them, so.
Thanks for putting it on the air, Joe.
All right. Let's shift gears to pitching. Next year's rotation and bullpen. Now, there's 2 ways to think about this. What do we want to see, and what do we think we'll see? Is Homer Bailey in the rotation?
Yes.
Yes, we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
And should he be? Yes. Sure. Will DeSclafani be in the rotation?
You can flip a coin on that.
Question mark.
Flip a coin. Okay.
Not from what we've seen, right?
Bronson Arroyo. No, I'm sorry. Not Bronson Arroyo. Luis Castillo.
Yes.
He could be this. He could be the ace.
He's a given, I think, and we want to see him there, right? All right. Robert Stevenson.
Possibly.
Flip a coin.
Possibly. I would think his is a little more stronger than flip a coin. I think he.
Well, more than
Odds on.
DeSclafani.
He's an odds-on favorite.
Well, he's
so to speak, to make it.
I wouldn't have put him in. I wouldn't have listed him next. I would have listed some guys probably that would be ahead of him.
Just as they come to mind.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily doing it in an order.
I don't think the Reds are as pleased with his base on ball total
No.
because it's still high. But what he has done this year is develop to where he now has about 3 pitches in his repertoire that he can get guys out on. He did not have that last year at this time. One of those ways.
Well, something
I'll
like
go with
that.
the latter. And remember, and I've said this plenty of times in the podcast, Price had him up, did not pitch him for 13 days, threw him out in the bullpen. He got rocked, sent him down, was gone for a good 6 weeks, came back, and there was a big difference from before being sent down and after he was brought up. And guys, at the end of the year, he was dependable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's no way to say it. He was dependable.
If he has a good off season and he's serious about his career, I put him in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if he's one of those guys that just goofs around.
Shows
And
up
John,
in Arizona.
I think
in
he
shape.
was. I think he was one of those guys because DeShields would say, this guy, he's not listening. If he's not listening, he's not going to make the ball club. That was about 2 years ago, and we saw that. Since he's come back up, he apparently has taken that to heart and has worked hard, and I think you're right on it. If he, this off-season, mentally and physically prepares, I think it could be a good, hopefully 12 to 15 wins for him next year.
He probably always knew he was going to get a shot
Yeah.
in the big league club. And once he got there and saw what it took to stay there, maybe that woke him up. Maybe that opened his eyes to, hey, this is harder than I think. It's not just my arm talent anymore. So maybe that straightened him out. Okay, who else?
Sal Romano.
Sal Romano. Yay or nay?
I
Up
think
or
he's
down?
one of the guys that kind of earned his spot at the end of the year. John's
I
not so sure.
certainly earned a good look in spring training.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
good looking spring training. Yeah.
But you're not 100% sure. I'm not sure he has either. I'm a little on the
He's-
fence
he's-
there. I
he's-
like him.
He's one of the ones on the bubble for number 5th spot.
Okay.
Who do you think hurt themselves in the last month or 2 of the season?
Before we do there, I'd like to see Romano lose a little weight. I think it
Yeah.
would help him with his endurance as well. He's actually, in some people's eyes, probably a little bit ahead of Stevenson. I have neck and neck. They both have their separate strengths. But I think Stevenson could stand to lose about 7 to 10 pounds. But Romano, I think he could stand to lose about 15. The duration would help him tremendously.
Yeah.
Who hurt themselves? Well, I'm going to say it this way. Garrett certainly hasn't helped himself. I read earlier, what was it, in one start he had a 12 strikeout performance in 7 innings, and it's like, really? I don't even remember that Amir Garrett.
Right. Where has he gone?
So I don't think he's helped himself by any
that's
means.
a good point.
What about Molly?
Helped himself tremendously. I think he has a good shot to break out of spring training with the Reds and hopefully as a starter.
Really, I think most of the guys that got consistent starts at the end of the year pitched well.
And he only
The
had
last
about
month of the season.
Steven Jack or
he only had
Jackson,
5 starts,
Jackson
I think.
Stevenson, yeah, he didn't. Jackson Stevens.
I thought Stevenson. Well, Jackson. Sorry.
He was sort of filling in because they shut those guys down, right?
Yeah.
So
Good point.
I think he's in that next tier. If
I do. Too.
I think if you see guys get hurt, he's a guy we could see up there, but I don't think he's going to win a spot. I kind of doubt it. But okay, so
Is Finnegan in this mix at all?
I think Finnegan's a reliever from now on.
Question mark because of the injury.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they
Stay away from the boats.
He was he was a reliever when the Reds got him. He pitched in relief for the Royals that one year.
Mm-hmm.
They looked at making him a starter, and maybe can't really do that. Maybe it's similar to Iglesias of too much wear and tear as a starter. We need to keep him in the bullpen. Of course, there's another guy, Lorenzen, who says he wants to be a starter, and when he was still pitching well, Price was like, well, look at it. But I got a feeling I don't see that happening unless he's just
he's hurt
tremendous
himself.
in spring training.
You think he got burnt out as the year went on?
I don't know. Was he unhappy? Does he need another pitch? Have they seen him I don't know what the story is. I haven't seen any real great analysis about him. Has anybody seen anything?
Well, I'll just say that would be a good answer, I think, to Tom's question. Who hurt himself?
He did.
Towards the end, I
Yeah.
think Lorenzen hurt himself.
Yeah, you're right.
Whether it be starter or reliever, he was rather unimpressive.
First few months of the year, he was impressive.
I'd be happy to see him in the bullpen start next year because I think, you can't just say, oh, I'll throw him on the trash heap because of the way he finished the season. I think he's still got a lot of talent, and let's keep him in the bullpen. That's what I think. So turn our attention to the bullpen. Iglesias, obviously.
Well,
Finnegan
he was stinking the place.
Well, he did. Yeah, he didn't have a great finish either, but I'm sure that's what they're going to go with.
Yeah,
He could be trade bait. He could be big time trade bait for some teams looking for a reliever.
He could.
Shackelford stunk it up.
I would agree with that, but his last 11 or 12 starts, he pitched phenomenal. If you looked at his numbers, I don't know where he stands. To me, that's a big mystery.
Was he?
Yeah.
You said starts. I know you meant relief appearances.
I did. I was just seeing if you're paying attention.
But were you? I am locked in. I've been out in the sun a lot lately.
You have.
But I'm locked in. Anyway, I think. Yeah, was he just throwing about an inning apiece?
Yeah.
Most of those.
Yeah,
So I think he's going to get a look.
I do too.
Iglesias, Lorenzen, Shackelford.
Wojciechowski cleared waivers, and he's been reassigned to Louisville. He's on the outside looking in.
Could be middle long relief guy. Could be an up and down he could stay on that shuttle from Louisville
He
to
could.
Cincinnati.
The I-71 shuttle.
Yeah.
Guess what Reds pitcher got the most wins this year?
Lorenzen
Lorenzen. I
With
would have
8.
guessed it.
with 8.
Yeah, it's because it's that relief.
Feldman.
thing.
Feldman was second.
He showed up in
Yeah. Hey, there you go.
What about Scott Feldman?
There you go. Good question.
Well,
Is he signed?
he's a free agent, so I don't think he'll stay. I think he'll say, they've got these young guys.
And
I
if
need
he
to go
does,
somewhere else.
and if he does stay, guess where we put him?
AAA.
Nah, I say he's in the bullpen.
Really?
Bench coach.
He's been a reliever before.
Yeah,
Put
I'd
him
say he'd be in the bullpen.
I think he could be a good middle long.
I wouldn't
guy.
start him ahead of Bailey and a healthy DeSclafani or
No.
Castillo or Molly or Stevenson or Romano.
No, I wouldn't
But-
either.
No.
Cody Reed.
Wow.
Wow, there's another one. What's become of that guy?
Yeah.
Reed and Garrett are the two complete unknowns. What next year's gonna look like for those guys. I mean,
Peralta.
we've known all along. There's so many of these guys. They're not all gonna really pan out really good. One or two of them might get traded.
Then you have Peralta.
One of them might have a career-ending injury. I mean, these things happen, right? I'm not wishing that on anybody, of course, but these things are going to happen, and it's going to whittle down, and it's going to be obvious at some point. I think it's a little more obvious now than it was certainly a few months ago, which at that time we got past the All-Star break and like, we haven't figured anything out this year.
Yeah.
Right.
We haven't figured anything
Yeah.
out. And then suddenly, though, to prove how long a season it can be, we've figured some stuff out maybe, or the Reds have, hopefully. All right, any more discussion on bullpen? I mean, then there'll be other guys in the bullpen. Who knows? They'll pick up a guy or two, and Storn will probably go somewhere else. And, of course, he's hurt right now anyway.
Luke Farrell they let go, and he was picked up by the Cubs.
Okay. So, yeah, you know who the 2 or 3 or 4 solid guys in the bullpen are, and then it's just fill in the blanks after that. So it'll be interesting to see. All right, next year's infield.
Who's going to play first?
Who's on first?
Dun.
Joey Votto.
And then we know who's on third.
I think Suarez will be the third baseman.
I hope
He
they
could be
don't
trade
move
bait,
him.
though.
No. No.
You think I like
I know
Schebler.
you love him.
You think I like Schebler.
I just told you what the Jimmy Leland. Jimmy
yeah.
Leland's
Jimmy Leland
Jimmy Leland.
he's
Special
coaching the Reds,
advisor.
though.
no, but when he was with the when he
Smoked
was
a lot of
special advisor to
cigarettes,
the
too.
Tigers, don't trade this kid. Don't trade him.
You think he's another Edwin Encarnacion?
No, I don't think he's got that kind of power.
Tell you what, though, you see his defense and how hard he's worked at it. It shows how hard he's
I
worked.
like him as a chemistry guy too. I'd like to keep him around. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to win an MVP award, but I think he could probably play in 2 or 3 All-Star games in his career at least.
All right, I think
maybe
first-
more. But I'd like to keep him around. I like the defense, the enthusiasm, the chemistry. I think he brings.
All right, first and third are kind of a little bit easier than
Yeah.
shortstop and second base.
Yeah,
So
that's
Yeah.
what do we say? What do we say? Let's go to let's go to the second base side.
That's got to be Jeanette. You just got to give it to Jeanette
well.
to start.
I think he's trade bait.
I
too.
think he's trade bait too.
No way.
I'm not saying you're going to trade him, but I
You
think
guys
he's-
are drunk.
If you
Too much sugar.
I'm telling you, man,
Yeah.
somebody looking for a second baseman and they can get somebody good, I think they'll trade him in a heartbeat.
Well, that goes back to and I was going to bring this up when we were talking about starting pitching, and we got sidetracked somehow. I forgot to mention it, but talking about next year's rotation, it could be somebody we don't even have that we trade for too.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And Scooter is a guy that you could get possibly a decent starter for, but you know what? Trading
That
for
means you're getting-
pitching is risky.
That means you're
Always has been.
sticking with Peralta or
Peraza.
Peraza.
Yeah, I'm not ready to give
he's
up on
had-
that guy.
I mean,
All right.
he's in,
Peraza's
really young.
only 23 years old.
Right.
When Barry Larkin was 23 years old, he hit 244 and had 19 errors. Does that mean this kid's the next Barry Larkin? No, but it's just a point. Do you want to give up on him that soon? Who's our lefty that we traded to the Dodgers? I can't remember his name.
Singrani.
Singrani. And after that first rough outing they had, I haven't seen how he's done lately, but he was pitching lights out.
Yeah, he had a whole month. He pitched great.
Well,
And it goes to analytics. The Dodgers were saying, well, you need to pitch this pitch instead of this
Slider.
pitch and this location. And
They increased him throwing the slider by about 15%.
so going back to, the second base hole, I agree with Tom. I think Jeanette would be a trade bait. Doesn't mean you trade him.
how old is he?
27.
Got to be, what, 27, 28?
27, 28.
Young
Still
guy.
young. Kind of hitting that prime year for hitters.
Yeah,
27,
because
28.
the
is
Reds
still-
are gonna lean toward younger guys because of the salary.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And Cozart, where most of the year we were saying, oh, they'll trade him for sure. Now, he's older. He'll demand more money. He had a good year. He's going to be harder to trade.
All right, so let's go to the six hole.
Nobody's
then.
going to trade for him now anyway because he's free agent.
And he's injury prone.
Right. So who's our shortstop next year?
Well, it could be Peraza. I could live with Jeanette and Peraza. I could live with Jeanette at second and Peraza at short. I could deal with that. I think, or I'd be just fine if they could sign Cozart and it doesn't sort of mortgage any kind of future otherwise financially. I'd be fine with keeping him
You
around.
can't.
I'd sign him for a couple or 3 years, but
Not
I don't.
he-
But
not
I
for
don't think they
money
really
he's gonna
will.
want.
I don't think the Reds
We
will do
can't.
that.
We
I-
can't
it just
mortgage
can't
our
afford 'em.
future on that.
It depends on what people are willing to give.
So I
him.
wonder if Senzel has a lights out spring training.
Oh, he'll be up with the team no later than June.
Yeah.
What do you bring him with you out of camp?
Yeah, do you move Suarez to
I doubt
short?
for control. I don't think they do. But one official noted that Peraza is not a true shortstop. You want to keep him at second base.
Okay.
So what do you do with Senzel? Senzel played both shortstop and second base in Knoxville. We talked about that. I would just hate to see them move Peraza, Suarez out from third base after the year he had to
Yeah.
put Senzel there. I would rather leave him there and go with a young kid, give him
agree.
lots of opportunities to play another position.
But he
agree.
didn't really play short at Knoxville. He filled in a couple games. So that's not really playing short.
Well,
college
let's put it this
baseball
way:
subbing.
in one of those, it was double-digit games. Fill, I don't know what fill-in means, but it was more than 6 games at one of those positions. One, it was only like 8 games. That may have been second or short, but the other was 44 plus games before they put him at the hot corner.
I'm a little concerned about moving him off of third, to be honest.
Him
because
being who?
Senzel, because even when he was drafted for his bat by far. I saw him play a little bit of third base in Dayton. He seemed okay. Didn't seem anything spectacular. I wonder. I think he can be a very, good major league infielder. I just wonder if he can be upper level. I mean, yeah, you're not going to have elite guys at every defensive position, but he's got to be. I mean, Scooter, for all Scooter did with the bat, Scooter wasn't the best infielder in the world, and you replace. Is Senzel going to be that kind of infielder? I don't know. Maybe he'll be better.
Baseball 101 is to be strong defensively up the middle.
Right.
So, you want your third baseman to be your power and your offense guy.
Yeah.
It's just a bonus if your shortstop or second baseman do it. So if you're going to lean one way, most managers lean towards defense.
Yeah. They are, and I think they will. So I think there's a whole lot to be determined. I think Cozart is most likely gone. So you've got those 3 positions. You've got Suarez, Jeanette, Peraza, Senzel. There's another guy out there who's struggling to get healthy that has been considered a good prospect too, and that's Herrera. Don't know where he stands or where he will stand in the next year or two. So I still think there's a bit of a log jam, but they don't all have equal experience, so it's hard to know who's going to be what and do what. So, but I think I'm with don't have Senzel in there to start the season. I don't think that they'll do that.
Don't bring him up and send him down. Signed Amir Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
pretty hard to come up in your first major league season and learn a new position. That's pretty tough.
Right, and they played him at third this year, so I will if I had to bet right now, long term, he'll be the third baseman and Suarez will be somewhere else. That's what my gut says. Okay. And by somewhere else, I mostly mean in our infield, but he could be somewhere else. Completely.
Let's do an easy one. Who's our starting catcher?
Barnhart, I guess.
They re-signed him.
They re-signed him, yeah.
Oh,
they like
yeah.
him. They like
So
him.
that's why I said, who's our starting catcher? Tucker. He's. Did I send y'all the stats on his defensive
Yeah, that was awesome.
rankings? Incredible.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Mesoraco if he's still with us next year.
And that's his
or
last
not.
year on contract.
Right.
I don't think he's much trade bait. Is he
No,
a free agent?
he's not. He's not.
He's got one more year, I think.
They could completely cut him loose if they want to,
Yeah.
but they might. But he, with the potential he showed and the way he played that 1 year, I don't think they will.
Does Billy stay around?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to the outfield.
Let's move to the outfield.
Sorry.
Bones of contention here.
Billy should stay around if he's hitting 7th, 8th, or 9th, right?
Yes, I put him 8th.
Or 9th.
I'd bat him.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I agree with Tom.
You can bat him 9th. I don't care. Just lower third.
But Votto hitting leadoff.
Best player's got to hit 3rd. Best hitter's got to hit 3rd. but you got a real hole if Cozart leaves for second, and who the heck is going to hit leadoff?
Yeah, I don't know.
You've already made a prediction.
Well, I said Winker. If I think he makes when you look at the lineup, he makes the most sense to be the leadoff guy. The question is, what does Price think of him, and is he willing to? If Duvall and Schebler and Winker and Hamilton are all on the same team, who's Price's odd man out? And I tend to think it's Winker.
Me too.
Why do you think that?
Just the way he used him
At
this
the
year.
end of the season?
He just
Free Winker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that's the case. Now, they could have been keeping Schebler in the lineup and Duvall in the lineup to try to say, hey, take a look at one of these guys. We want to deal one so we can play Winker full time next year. Who knows what goes on in the back rooms and behind the closed doors, but I could see him dealing one of those guys and him being the guy. But if they're all four there, I don't know. That's just...
I think Duvall's more expensive. The Reds are always about saving money. Put Schebler in left field.
I think
Winker, right?
Jeff, you and Brian Price are the same. You're both big on Schebler, and Brian Price is really big on him. Earlier in the year, last year, we said between Duvall and Schebler, who do you trade? And I think we all said Schebler. Now, I'm saying trade Duvall.
Yep.
I hate losing a guy who leads the, if not the majors, the NL in outfield assists.
Yeah, but your stat that you gave us earlier about him with runners in scoring position.
Yep. It was something along the lines of leaving more guys on base, 80 more than the next guy, which was Albert Pujols. And I just sitting there thinking, okay, you're going to get something, Duvall. It may not be great, but you'll get something halfway decent. And you have Winker, Hamilton, and Schebler, and Phillip Ervin to fill a role.
I could deal with Irvin as a fourth outfielder.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you compare Schebler and Duvall, I think Schebler, he's faster, and he has a pretty good arm.
Yeah, he's a good outfielder.
And his power's definitely there, although his average isn't.
Well, what the Reds need to be doing is they need to be looking at all these numbers and analytics and trying to project which one of these guys, doing their best they can, which guy is better long term over the next, and I mean 3 years.
How old
or
is
something.
Shebs?
He's mid-20s. He's 26 or 27.
Same
I
as
think.
Duvall.
Yeah, they're similar. Duvall's just a little bit
Schebler's
older.
26.
I think Duvall's a little bit older. So they just need to really look at that and make that decision.
They make the same amount of money. They both make the major league minimum.
One thing, if you've ever played, fantasy baseball, you know that if you just put your team together based on last year, you won't have a good year. You have to try to project and think and who's moving up and who's peaked and everything else because, it's unlike if you do fantasy football, Tom Brady's going to have a good year. Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good year. In baseball, there's a few guys you can kind of count on.
Joey Votto's
going to have a good year. But then, what if you'd have banked everything on a guy like Andrew McCutchen this year, who struggled for a long time, and you're like, oh, I got to get rid of this guy. So that's the way baseball is. You just don't know year to year. I mean, it's just, and we all know that. I mean, but
if you take your fan hat off and you just look at it from a general manager with salary cap room, Billy's making $2.6 million a year out there in the outfield, and Zach's making $7 million a year. So if you and Mesoraco's making $7 million a year, so you can free up a lot of room for a pitcher with those three guys.
I would say out of those three, I would not give up Hamilton because he should win the Gold Glove this year. Should have won it last year.
Feldman's also making 2.3.
I like Billy for the defense and
speed.
and he makes some things happen when he gets on base and he can help. They just need to move him down. It would be really nice to do that.
Why can't Billy learn how to bunt?
I know.
That's
nobody bunts anymore.
Or hit that 5.5 hole.
Yeah.
Nobody bunts anymore anyway. Well, he could bunt for base hits, but nobody.
You're so bad because We just need a DH. We don't need to
Well, nobody.
everybody play both ways.
Well,
no one
There were
bunts.
fewer than 1,000 sacrifice bunts in Major League Baseball this year. It's the lowest total in forever.
So I'll bet you
Well,
want
it's
electronic
sacrifice bunts. I'm talking
umpires
about
too.
bunt for
for
base
hits.
hits, bunt
Yeah.
for hits. I agree. He can
You
do
should-
that, but
Do you want computer umpires too? Do you just want to completely get rid of the traditional baseball?
yeah. I'm just kidding.
Don't even show up
Base-
at Bumpus Jones Day.
Hey,
Don't
hey,
even show
hey,
up.
Hey,
Yeah, and if you
I'm
throw above,
I'm
if
gonna
you throw
be the
above the
DH.
neckline,
Can
you
I
get
be
a 1 game
DH that day?
suspension.
Can I DH at the vintage baseball game? I want to be the DH. Also, if you think about salaries, Hamilton is an arbitration guy. Scooter is. Suarez, Duvall, Schebler, all those guys were pre-arbitration. Are pre-arbitration guys. So they're still not going to cost much next year. So that will certainly influence to some degree. And of course Barnhart was in that boat, but they went ahead and gave him some money and said, "You're our guy."
You think anybody would want Homer? He's making $19 million.
Nobody's going to trade for that.
Yeah,
No.
be nice to get rid of that.
His ERA was still over 6, even though he showed he had a lot of really good starts. If you take out all the early bad ones and maybe leave a couple of the later rough ones in, because everybody's going to have those now and then, his ERA was probably pretty good.
He only had
Pretty good,
one.
like below 5.
Probably better than that.
He only had one time where he had very solid back-to-back starts right before the All-Star break at Colorado, at Arizona.
Yeah.
Other than that, he could not put 2 games together that were solid. So
True.
I'm hoping this year when he goes to Goodyear, he's not focused on rehab. He's focused on developing, endurance, pitching, and then hopefully we'll see more consistency from him. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Outfield-wise? We solved all the problems?
No.
Well, I gave you what my lineup would be, Kim. Winker should be the leadoff hitter next year. I don't know if he will be.
And I think we all agree, is he a true leadoff hitter? No. But I like how you put
What
it,
is a
Jeff.
true leadoff hitter?
Hold on. I think I like how you put it. He's best for what we have on this team.
Yeah.
He's most appropriate.
There's not that many true leadoff hitters in
I
baseball.
mean, what is
let's
a
be
true
honest.
hitter?
High average, high walk,
Define
high
it.
on
Gets
base,
on base.
speed.
Gets on base.
Gets on base.
That's
speedy.
the traditional true leadoff hitter.
It is.
But it's not so much anymore. some-
Jeff Gilbert's lineup: Winker in right, Peraza at short, Votto at third, Duvall in left field, Suarez at third, Senzel at second, Hamilton in center field, Barnhart behind the plate.
Well, maybe June. Maybe by June it'll look like that.
Well, we agree because Senzel we say is not going to be up.
Right. But I could also see Schebler still being in there and Duvall getting traded.
Yeah.
I mean, those are. I mean, that's one guess at it. but-
Interesting, and this was on September the 5th. This was only just over a month old. Seems a lot longer.
You know, were we having lunch one day? and
Tom
something-
got there late, so we didn't know what to do with ourselves.
So we just did that.
Yeah.
You know how at the beginning of the season there was so much talk about Hamilton and Peraza with the speed at the top of the lineup.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at the beginning of the season, for a little while, it kind of was kind of there, but then things deteriorated probably rather quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now that lineup they're just in the lineup, and now we don't really
No, we don't know.
take advantage
John, would
of
you like
speed.
to hear Jeff's projection of the starting lineup?
You mean the starting rotation?
Starting rotation: Bailey, Castillo, Stevenson, Molly, and Romano.
That's a pretty good guess.
A healthy DeSclafani who pitches well in the spring, will supplant somebody there. But
He's got to get
I
past
don't.
Dayton.
I don't know. Yeah. Well,
They may send him down to
let's
Greenville.
go. We
The
should go to
Appalachian League.
whatever we do. Let's not go to Arizona and watch him pitch in spring training.
Tom, do you know that they got a new
I saw that
location?
in the paper.
It's
Greenville?
lower, Greenville, Tennessee. It's lower than Billings, and it's like Billings. They won't start till sometime June 7th to 10th.
So we're gonna have 2 rookie league teams.
Yes.
Are they moving it out of that Arizona league?
And you didn't have
No.
you
No.
didn't-
Does
That
still
they still
exist?
have the Arizona League.
I read that again. I didn't hear Hunter Green.
Hey, Hunter Green.
Yeah.
That's right.
You think he starts in Double A next year?
I don't know.
We're hoping he starts in Dayton, right?
Now, see, when
I can't see that.
when Hunter Green is ready for the major leagues, you guys are going to change your tune a little bit on this DH thing, because he's a
No.
guy who could start
Yeah.
and DH like 3 or 4 days a week
Yep.
and hit well,
Yeah.
and then
So-
bat when he pitches. So you guys, I'm just telling you, the day's coming when you're going to say what I'm going to say. I told you so.
All right, we'll take computer umps then.
No, I don't think that'll happen because I think Hunter's not going to hit for like 2 years now,
Yeah.
except for once a week or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. And then when he gets to the
No,
majors,
he doesn't even hit in the minors.
and then when he gets to the
That's right.
majors,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
go, I thought this guy could hit.
Yeah.
But he
It'll
won't
be-
because he hasn't
he
hit
won't
for 2
because they
years.
won't let him hit. But then when he gets to the majors, they'll make him hit.
And he's already said, I've stopped playing
Therefore-
shortstop.
Yep.
I'm just going to pitch.
And there's my argument in a nutshell. They
What
never
kind of
let
argument is that?
they never let him bat, and then when you get to the majors, you let him bat. You make
Well,
him bat.
that's an organization philosophy.
No,
That's not a rule.
pitchers do not bat in the minor leagues.
Who was the Cardinal pitcher that went to play outfield?
Rick Ankiel?
Yeah.
Because he couldn't throw the ball over the plate
Right.
anymore.
Pitchers
can
do
hit.
not bat in the minor leagues because that's the philosophy of the organization. They could have Hunter Green hit if they wanted to,
They're not going to.
but they're not going to.
It just
They,
doesn't.
they
It
want
doesn't
to
happen.
develop his arm, not his bat.
Yeah,
Why can't anybody think outside the box sometimes?
I am thinking outside the box.
I'm-
Everybody else is just inside of it.
That's right. We need to.
Tradition. Baseball's all about tradition.
Okay, so that's why we have a one-game wild card, and we got NLDS now. That's
Yeah, but we didn't.
an ALDS. That's
We
not,
didn't
that's
mess
not
up the stats of baseball.
the stats.
You're a stat guy. You love the stats.
How does that mess up the stats of baseball having a DH?
Because now these guys play for an extra few years. They hit way better. Why? Because they're DH and not really playing both ways. True players play the field and bat.
All right, I can tell that
Better change.
You're
the
not going to
subject.
win this, are you?
This is
Well,
like the
I
conversation
can-
y'all had at the game about LeBron James, right? The woman behind
The woman in front of us, like, wow.
I got fired up at lunch about something the other day too, didn't I? You, me, and Panda. We were like, I got fired up about something, and he goes, "Oh, you got him awake now." I just start going. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Me either.
Base football, basketball, baseball. I don't even remember what it was.
Oh.
But that was pretty funny. So yeah, I get passionate about this.
I can tell.
It's well, you're just as passionate the other way, so that's fine. We can all have.
And
our-
I get drug into all this mess.
You get yeah, exactly. You didn't ask to be here, did you? We asked you.
I'm
so.
just the Klondike delivery boy.
Exactly. Exactly.
So are we going to be podcasting from Bumpers Jones Day, or is this it?
I think this is it for now. We can. We'll be busy out there that day and watching baseball, having a good time. We just relax.
Mickey and the Duke.
Yes. So.
Then after that will be
But
hockey,
I think it'll
hockey
be
season.
hockey season. No, I'm not big on the pucks. I'm not a big puck fan. So, but I don't really know much about it, to be honest with you. I'll watch it here and there, but that's Kim's sport. Are you a hockey guy?
No, I'm a Bucks fan.
Go Bucks.
Yeah, go
as
Bucks.
as in those Bucks.
Yes.
Not the Milwaukee Bucks. It's the
Buckeyes.
The Buckeyes. Yes. So we're looking forward to that. But what I figure is, through the off season, there'll be 2 or 3 times where some things will happen. Winter meetings, the Reds make a couple deals. Find out a couple things are going on. We get together. A little hot stove.
Hot Stove League. We'll have to have a Hot Stove podcast.
Hot stove, yes. So we'll see that, and then when spring training gets around, we'll definitely start to ramp it up a little bit and so forth. So if there's one guy that would definitely not be on this roster next year, who's a key player this year, who do you most think it will be, John?
Most think it would
Well,
be,
you had
or
me
most,
talked into Jeanette, so I say Scooter then.
You think? Okay. Well, I mean, okay. Let me say this: outside of the free agents, Cozart we know is probably almost
Right.
definitely going to be
Well,
gone.
that's what I was going to say.
Feldman. So outside of the
Yeah.
sort of the givens, who do you think is really probably going to get dealt? And you think
Who
Are
we
we
think's
convinced
gonna-
that it might really
Who
be?
we think's
could-
going to get dealt, or who we would like to see?
No,
get
who
dealt?
who do we think?
Released or traded?
Released, traded, a guy who was a key player that was like, he ain't gonna be here. Not
Let's keep
outside.
asking him questions and never answer the questions.
Yeah.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Are you running for office? So yes, outside of the guys we know that will be gone because of free agency.
Mesoraco wasn't a key player, so I guess you're not.
No, I wouldn't include him either. And Barnhart's obviously going to be here because they signed him. But like the everyday guys of the year.
All right, I'll go out on a limb.
All right,
I'm going.
Iglesias.
Iglesias. You think?
I think he's the number one trade bait on the team this year.
And I'm guessing you think that because we can get more in return for
Yes.
him than anyone else.
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
And a lot of people need a closer, right? So
All right.
What's
so,
his salary?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably not very much.
probably not
Yeah.
that much, which
So-
makes him even more
Right.
attractive.
Well, Scooter's salary is probably more than his, right?
Yes.
So that's why I picked Scooter then.
Good point.
All right. Even though you'd hate to see it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Kim.
I don't know if I'm answering the question that correctly because I don't know if it's who I would want to see, but I'm going to say one of our current corner outfielders.
Okay.
You got to be more
Iglesias
specific.
They don't even listen to my answer.
Iglesias is over $4 million this
Iglesias
year.
makes over $4 million.
Oh, get him out
His
of here.
base was 3.5, and he had a signing bonus of
Didn't know that.
714.
Okay.
And what was Scooter?
I don't have Scooter on my thing. Do you?
Scooter made 2.5,
Yeah, Iglesias.
but he's a free agent. So
Scooter's not a free
no, he's not a
agent.
free agent. I'm sorry.
Okay, at least
I'm
one more
sorry.
year.
I'm sorry. He's I think he might be He's arbitration. So Scooter would probably win an arbitration argument this year. I mean,
That's going out of the limb.
yeah. I mean, let's state the obvious here.
So who do you think, Jeff?
Did you pick one?
Yeah, I told you they
No,
were
you-
listening.
No, but you
Two.
didn't really pick. You
I
didn't really
did.
pick. You said a corner outfielder.
One of our current corner outfielders.
I want a name.
And that's where I don't know if I'm answering your question.
See?
If
I don't care how
problem.
you answer. Just pick one.
Duval.
Duval. I asked this question and I hadn't really thought about it.
And you weren't even eating Klondike
I wasn't.
bar.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think it will be Jeanette. I think that's the most obvious one to me that will probably be gone.
So Jeanette, Iglesias, Duval. I think
Yeah.
I'm the least likely to be
They all could be
correct.
gone.
Duval
don't
has a
know.
low
No.
salary.
The thing is, the
Yeah.
Reds are working through prospects right now a lot. And basically, what do you trade for anymore? You trade for prospects. There aren't too many trade a starter for a regular player for a regular player. You don't see that very much anymore. So I'm inclined to think one guy's going to go just to sort of make room for some things, but I don't think you're going to see a
And that
lot.
would be a corner outfielder.
Be a corner outfielder or an infielder.
Yeah.
Those are the two gluts.
I've been
The two-
validated
You are validated.
You deserve a Klondike bar.
for my parking
That's right.
at Studio 82.
Yes. Yes, it'll validate your ticket on the way out, and you won't have to pay the $5. Oh my! All right, so I say we wrap it up, guys. We head to the off season. Looking forward to next year, and hopefully 90 victories and so forth.
So if Hunter Green opens up for the Dayton Dragons, we go into opening day.
That would be
No,
fun.
no.
We
No?
could
The
jinx
last
him.
time we did that, we jinxed him.
Maybe we go the second time
Oh,
he pitches.
the three old Red fans jinx.
Yes.
They got confused because there were four of us. We're not very good at math.
That's right. That's right.
We have tickets that will call 3 old Reds fans, but there's 4 of you. Sorry.
You can't come. We're confused here. We don't know who's the other guy.
The bald guy.
All right. Well, as I said, it is the off season, and we'll do a few shows between now and opening day. Just won't be as frequent. So
Are we going to Arizona to watch any?
No, I'm
No.
not. I would like to, but I don't think I will be.
A little light in the wallet.
I'll be a little. I'm a little light in the wallet, and I got work. It's still school is still
Even
in
with
session.
that free meal last night from Beans.
Yeah, even with that free.
Had a
meal.
free meal. It comes in. I just ate an hour ago at Wendy's. I'm hungry. Oh, here, John. It's free. It's free.
Jeff, I'm
And
Jeff.
he downed it. No.
Did Paul bring stuff over again?
Well, somebody
Wrong
somebody
order.
ordered a BLT with no mayo, which was really weird to me.
Yeah.
So it had mayo on it, so I gladly ate it. I mean, it was
Sourdough
good.
bread, wasn't it?
No, it was
man,
delightful.
Devoured that thing.
Yeah.
The stuff we talk about on Three
But
Old
yeah,
Reds Fans.
but would you order a BLT with no mayo?
Oh, has that mayo?
Well, I just had the experience of somebody ordered a BLT with
No bacon?
peanut butter.
Oh, peanut butter.
What?
Yes.
Ah, that could
It's
be
just
good.
weird.
No doubt.
That could be good.
No.
Yeah.
Bacon and peanut butter is pretty
No,
good.
Mom and
yeah.
Dad's have a burger with peanut butter on it. You ever had it? It's pretty good.
No. Sounds gross.
Is it better than a Stinger?
Yes. To me, it's
I'm sure all our fans have tuned out by now.
Oh, yeah. Well, as important things
Closes
happen
the longest podcast
around the
ever.
hot stove, we will come together and talk about them. So stay warm, enjoy football and basketball seasons, keep rooting for the Reds to make good
And
off-season decisions.
Can we close out by saying Dr. John Helmick came runner-up in the racquetball tournament this past week in Columbus, Ohio, in the B League?
Oh, now they really, very good.
Congratulations.
Now they're all turning it off, right?
Yeah, right.
Power hitter.
Power hitter. Oh, well, can you back clean up?
I don't know. We'll find out
Play
on
the
the
corner
15th.
outfield.
Can you play left field? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will look for that. Stay warm. Enjoy the off season. Until then, go Reds.
Go
Go
Reds.
Reds.